Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 18 of the Carrie Rolled On Show, where we spend 30 minutes or so a week having conversations that matter to the mompreneurs' body, mind, and business. I'm your host, Carrie Rolled On, and I'm a wife, a mother, a runner, a best-selling author, a personal growth junkie, and your total business BFF. And I help busy mompreneurs to find their niche, create an offer that serves them, and market in a way that totally resonates while still feeling completely authentic. And if this sounds good to you or like something that you need, I want you to grab my new ebook. It's called Get Where You're Going, Girlfriend: 6 Steps to Actually Achieving Your Outrageous Goals. And in it, you will learn how to get out of your own way and stop self-sabotaging so that you can get into inspired action like now. You'll learn the 3 missing steps in the ask, believe, receive manifestation model, and also how and where to get the support you need to create the life and business that you dream of. So you can get that at the link below. I changed it. I'm so excited. Someone taught me how to use pretty links, and my mind has been blown. So carrierolledon.com/ebook. All right, so I created the Carrie Rolled On Show because I have stumbled and I continue to on my entrepreneurial journey because the road to success thus far has been full of potholes, detours, and dead ends, not to mention self-doubt, fear, worry, debt, marital tension, and personal struggle. And I wanted to share what I continue to learn on my journey in the hopes that it will help you guys too. You guys, I told you, I'm your business BFF. I've also started a Google Plus community called What Else? Business Besties, and it's for mompreneurs or those with a business or a service or a heart to serve mompreneurs. So if you want to find that, head on over to Google Plus and just search under communities for business besties and you will find it. Okay, so today's topic I'm so flipping excited about. It is a bit of a departure from the normal business related stuff, but it's so important to us mompreneurs that I'm really excited to talk about it. So it is, are we punishing with praise? Practical and peaceful parenting for mompreneurs. So let's just talk parenting for a minute. Many of us became mompreneurs because we quit our jobs to stay home with our kids. That's what I did. And others of us became mompreneurs so that we could quit our jobs to stay home with our kids. But whether or not we're at home with our kids, parenting can often feel frustrating and overwhelming. Don't get me wrong, I love my children dearly, but just like with my business, the picture that I had in my head of parenthood and parenting and my parenting philosophy and the reality of the day-to-day life are different, right? It's not always what I envision, just like with my business, right? That road to success is not a straight line. And one of my biggest struggles as a parent is that I really want my children to be strong, to be independent, to be free thinkers, to be in touch with the call of their soul, to know who they are, and to not be full of anxiety and perfectionism. Having said all that, I really just want them to do what I want them to do when I want them to do it. And this can be a really big conflict. So I have 3 kids, as you know, and I believe myself to be an enlightened parent. I'm a hardworking mompreneur doing her best to keep a zillion and 16 plates in the air. And oftentimes I find that my parenting behavior does not necessarily match my parenting philosophy. Well, I'm by no means the perfect parent. I feel so grateful to have found this incredible preschool 8 years ago, which for those of you local Orange County, it's North Huntington Beach Community Nursery School. Look it up. It's freaking phenomenal. And even if you're not in Orange County, look it up, nhbcns.org, just to look at the philosophy. But at any rate, it just felt right. Finding this school, it was so different than anything else that I had seen or heard. And ultimately, it taught me to trust my instincts. And the very first thing that I learned at this amazing little school was to stop telling my toddler good job. Right? I know a lot of you are like, what the heck? We're supposed to be positive. But that's where the conversation is going to start today with my incredible, amazing, like so fun to talk to guest, Kathleen Hennessy. So I've invited her to talk to show. Mouth not working. I've invited her to talk to you guys this week. um, and because I want some help with my own parenting struggles. She's a total breath of fresh air in the parenting coach realm. She's a mompreneur, a social worker, and a parenting coach living in Switzerland. Kathleen is the co-founder of Peace Works Coaching and has a philosophy and strategy that resonates with me and that I can't wait to talk about. So, on that note, I think, Kathleen, I'm going to ask you to unmute yourself, and I will put your beautiful face on the screen and say hello.
Hi. Since you mentioned Switzerland, I just have to say that I logged about 15 miles of sledding today. We went up a bus, up the mountain across from us, and we sled down this route 3 times, and the last time we came all the way down to where we live in the valley.
Okay, so I'm super jealous because, as you know, I live in Southern California, and while I'm not jealous of the cold, the snow is something that my 4-year-old has never seen, and we're going to the.
Come visit.
We are actually going to the mountains this weekend, and I don't think there's going to be a stitch of snow for her.
Oh.
But oh well. So I have your beautiful face on the screen right now, and I just want you to take a minute. I know you've been working with parents since 1983.
Yeah.
You worked at a Swiss boarding school, which I think is like just an interesting twist in your story. You're a social worker. Just maybe give us a little bit of your background.
Well, I always say I grew up in a group. Learning to be a parenting coach because I'm the oldest of 8 children, so it was fated. And later, when I became a social worker, and then after my husband had supported me through graduate school and getting my practice started and everything, I said, "Okay, your turn to follow your heart." And he said, "Great. How about this little school in Switzerland?" And I said, "Okay, 2 years." And that was 21 years ago. So I had to learn to be a teacher, and we had students who lived in our house, teenagers, and the first few years we had teenagers from 12 of them living in our house between age 11 and 20 from all different countries, and they drove me insane. I found out later that the director said, "Give them all to Kathleen, she's a family therapist." And I said, "Yeah, but I never lived with my clients." So then I was desperate, and I started looking for ways I could, live with these teenagers more happily. And I stumbled upon something called positive discipline with teenagers, and then positive discipline in the classroom. These are all books, an approach developed by Jane Nelson, and it just totally resonated with me. And I showed it to my husband, and we started picking things out and applying it in the classroom and with the kids in our house. And we started seeing such changes, and I started really loving it. People thought we were nuts. Said, "What do you mean you love living?" Even my colleagues didn't love living with 10 students. I said, "Bring them on, bring them on." I said, in 1 year, our group was working so nicely, and I said, "I'm kind of bored. I need some challenging kids." I said, "Okay, we have a couple for you." So I just got to really love it. And then when we left the school 3.5 years ago, my husband and I started, got certified to train in this approach, and we started offering workshops and so on. But there's only so many workshops you can do live. We do them in German or in English, however people want. And now I'm offering more online because I just love it. The more I do it, the more I love it. And now I'm going insane with it because now I talk about starting this revolution for peace, and really envisioning world peace through families like yours, Carrie, like with your nursery school and so on, that really learning this way of being with kids, that you end up with a family that has so much genuine, authentic contact and real relationships with each other that are so mutually respectful, you get children who are very challenging. They're not necessarily easier kids to be with, are they, Carrie? But because they have their own opinions and they dare to express them, and often very productively and constructively. But it's not easy because we live in a society where, right, adults rule. That's
Yeah.
not true with kids raised with positive discipline.
Okay, so
Everybody's the same. Everybody's equal, and yet
which
parents are still in charge.
which is a difficult thing. And I'm sorry, I'm holding my mic because thank you, Marcus, who told me, well, he's got a couple of comments. The first one is that, can I adjust my microphone because my volume is driving him crazy? So hopefully it helps. Um, and, and then the second is he's saying that sounds like a lot of fun, meaning the sledding.
Yeah.
And only a hint of snow where he is. So, but let's talk about the positive discipline, because I think it
Yeah.
is probably very similar philosophy to the little school that I've been telling you about, that has been life-changing for me and so empowering. And I think that's why I felt like doing this show was, I was so passionate about it, is from what you just said about, wow, if we could just bring peace to our homes, imagine what it could do in all our in all of our interactions.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and that we are an adult run. Like, how often in our childhood did we hear, because I'm the parent and you're the
Yeah.
child, and that's just how it is. And I'll
Yeah.
be honest, I have actually said that and
Of
cringed at
course.
my own self. um,
Of course.
so let's get to it. Let's start with good job, because that one, I
Okay.
mean, it is like, now that I understand the philosophy behind not good jobbing my child to death, I feel that phrase makes me cringe, and I
Oh,
swear
yeah.
it's a freaking epidemic.
It
So
is. It's epidemic.
can you talk to us about it?
It's fun because I just finished a workshop on Saturday. We did this, and it often surprises me because very often workshop participants will name that as one of their ahas. And the thing is that if we just say good job, and we usually do a whole series of these things like, I'm so proud of you, good job, and I love it when you act like that, and look, what a good grade you got, things like that. And then after they've heard like the series of 8 or 12 statements, perfectly normal things that we all say and we've heard, and it all seems really nice because it's positive, right? And first, it was very interesting because we asked the workshop participants, watch the person playing the child hearing these statements. And they all noticed that at first she was all like, thrilled, and then her body language sort of deflated over the time. And then we said, who are these comments about? The child or the adult? And it's always comes, I've done this many times, it always comes spontaneously. It's about the adult. It's about you, not about the kid. And so, yeah. I mean, it was all about, is she a reflection of me as I want my child to be? But it's about me. If I then switch it to what is called encouragement, so that I say, instead of saying good job, I'd say, look what you did. Or if a child brings home grades from school or something, and you say, even if, let's say the child brings home a C. So, normally it's not something to get excited about, but it's in a subject where you've seen your child struggle so hard and work so hard, and said, how do you feel about that? I bet you feel proud of what you've done. You worked so hard for that. So you reach a little bit more to notice what it is, and in that, the child feels very seen. And children, I would say human beings need it. Really, all these things are human. But children really need us adults to see them and to see who they really are. And that sounds so kitschy, but when I say you worked so hard to reach that goal, or I saw that time you put in extra time, I saw how hard you worked for that test, then I have seen that child. And that's encouraging because I'm giving her that she's the one that did it. And then I'm asking her, how do you feel about what you did? So it's all hers. And whatever she's achieved or not achieved, because I can also do it, how do you feel about that? Do you feel good? Do you feel like you gave it your best? And then the child might say, no, I don't really think I did. Well, what would you feel like your best? So you have a whole different ground to work from. But it's about the child. It gives the child the responsibility for feeling good, and it also gives the child responsibility for how she wants to do it, instead of it coming from me. So I don't say so much, I'm proud of you. I say, do you feel proud of what you did?
Ooh, okay. So this you've given a few good phrases, and I want to enunciate them or say them again,
Okay.
articulate them, because I remember when I was first introduced to this, a few things came to me. One was that, holy crap, good job is freaking patronizing. I'm patronizing my child because I'm like, oh, good job clapping, good job on the slide, good job, like, and she's like, really?
They don't believe us.
Yes,
It's not.
and go ahead.
It's not genuine, and they know, like going down the slide, all the other kids are going down the slide. There's nothing special about it. So in a way, children need accurate reflections of who they are and what they're doing. So when we're saying good job and everything, sometimes this next generation of parents has gone overboard. So, oh, good poop. Oh, good, look at that good spit up. Oh, but for children, this is inauthentic.
Yes.
Because
Okay.
they need us to be real with them.
I'm like scribbling furiously, trying to write down everything you've said. So.
I can send, it's good that you're saying that, Carrie, because I told the people in my course, also said, can you send me these? Do you have these? I can't remember these. And I said, and I forgot to send them, and now I can send them for you and your listeners too if you want. Because
I
it
would
is
love that.
helpful. You can
Yeah,
write them on your hand.
I do that. I don't know if you can see. I have like leftover Sharpie on my hand from yesterday. But okay, so here's the phrases you've said so far. And the one that actually the director at the preschool gave me when I was first starting out there, and it was a co-op preschool. So you, as a parent, you need to work in the classroom, but you like
Yeah,
kind of don't know what to say. And
right.
and so she said, just say you did it. And I was like, okay, instead of good job, when they come down and they're looking for some sort of,
Mhm.
because they've been trained to look, because they've been so good jobbed, they're looking for some sort of validation, is to, just
Mhm.
like what you said, put the validation back on, make it intrinsic on their
Mhm.
own. And so to say, you did it. And so you
Mhm.
said, look what you did. You said, I
Mhm.
wrote, you did it. And then you didn't actually say this, but this is another one that I had heard is, I remember when you couldn't do that. Just like you were saying,
Mhm.
oh, you
Yeah.
worked, I saw that you worked so hard. But the idea, right?
Yeah.
And the thing that I love about these phrases is that those are conversation starters, not
Yeah.
conversation enders. Like, good job is such a
Right.
conversation
Right. Yeah.
ender.
Yeah.
Um,
It's not a conversation.
yes, yes. And then you gave a nugget of wisdom just now that if I could type faster, I would have typed it in the comments. So Marcus, if you're still watching, you want to type, go for it. You said children need accurate reflections of what they're doing. And I love that. So I cannot believe how much we haven't covered in our time together yet because we've been talking about this. But I want to share a tiny bit of my own journey, which is just that I had these amazingly well-intentioned parents that good jobbed me to death. And what
Yeah.
it did, just like you were saying, you asked, and I was an achiever. I grew up with what I thought was good, healthy self-esteem. But as it turns out, I was super insecure because I was
Mhm.
looking for validation, outward
Yeah.
validation. Now, I happened to be great at getting it. I was
Yeah.
like 4.0. I was like
Yeah.
super achiever girl. Um,
Yeah.
but at a certain point in my life, it
Yeah. We
became,
become addicted to it.
yeah,
And then
yeah,
it's like we can't live without it when we don't get it. And that's we train our children to expect certain things. And the thing is also for children, or this is for other people too, but if you're constantly saying good job, when you don't say good job, what does that mean? I mean, that's what a child naturally does. What did I do wrong? How come she didn't say good job? So then it becomes like their pass fail system, but you are the source of it, not they. And there's only one place to fall from good job. You can only go down.
Yeah.
So, and if a scribble of ugly colors is good job, then what is the thing I actually really tried hard with? So it's not giving children any real feedback.
Oh
And
my.
so it leaves them kind of like, yeah, I don't really get the rules around here.
Yeah, yeah. And what was good job right when you're 2 is no longer good job when you're
Right.
7.
Exactly.
Um,
That's confusing too. That's right.
so I'm going to read you a couple comments that are coming in, and then I want to talk about something you and I talked about in the green room, and then we're going to be out of
Okay.
time, so you're going to have to tell people how they can get more
Okay.
from you.
Okay.
um,
Okay.
so Iona says, I love that, Carrie, about children needing the reflection. Thank you so much for covering this important topic, you guys. And Iona is a super enlightened mompreneur as well. And I just think I so wanted to have this conversation on air because I feel like even those of us who feel like we're trying to do it right and we believe in our philosophy, we're still struggling mompreneurs.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
We all are. My kids are 28 and 26, and my husband and I still discuss, well, how should we handle this? And we have family meetings. We still are doing it all.
so I'm never getting a finished product, is what you're saying. Okay,
That's
so
good news. Good job.
so Marcus says instead of platitudes, we need to praise our children like we would praise a coworker. Oh, that's interesting. So maybe we can talk about that. That says a coworker that needs some adjustment in our perspectives, but it makes sense to me. So I think what he's saying is make it authentic praise and not just yay.
Well, if we think of it as encouragement instead of praise, because of course I'm an American living in Switzerland, which is a funny fit right there. But we Americans tend to be very rah-rah, and and everything's great. And you're in Southern California, so it's probably even more so. But it's also, I noticed it like when I was finishing off the group on Saturday, and I had really, really enjoyed this group. And then for each one, I said, I looked for what was the particular that I had enjoyed. So I said, I really appreciate you were so perceptive and so open in your sharings. Or to somebody else, I really appreciated how much you shared of your struggle. It helped the whole group, But I have to think, one more second, what was it in particular? And that's what hopefully we do with coworkers, and that's what we want to do with our children. And that's then how our children, when you have 3 children, Carrie, that's how they get the message. I'm unique, and my mom sees my uniqueness. A child doesn't think this. A child experiences it. And and your husband knows how you see them uniquely, but they get the message from you when you reach for that truly unique thing that child has done. Then they get
Yeah.
it.
And I know how it feels for me, as a,
Yeah.
like, I don't consider myself a needy child necessarily anymore, but I'm sure my husband would disagree sometimes.
That's another
But
story.
right, that's a different show.
But for example, if somebody says to you, you're a great interviewer, you still don't know anything. That
Yes.
doesn't give you any feedback. They could say that to everybody who interviews them, and but that doesn't know. You still don't know. Well, what was it about your particular interviewing that they considered great? If they could tell you, I appreciated the way you asked these kind of questions, and I appreciated this, then you have feedback. Then you have a mirror held up. Ah, okay.
Okay,
So
so yeah, so you're like blowing my mind on air, and as I'm producing the show, I'm switching back and forth because I'm wanting people to see like, oh yeah, I'm so getting that. And we're gonna run out of time so fast, it's gonna be incredible. So I want to spend just a couple minutes talking about the things that we talked about in the green room. So,
Mhm.
and then you all watching need to know that there's so much more to this conversation, so you're going to have to get in touch with Kathleen. But one of the
Okay.
things one of the things that I loved about this school, and that when you and I were talking, you were like, "Oh, it's so great to hear that that exists and that in the United States and that that happens," is and you touched on it in the beginning when you said creating mutual respect. But at this
Mhm.
school, right, I say I was given permission, right? Some parenting authority, someone who had a degree in early childhood education said, you know what? You don't need to force your child to hug their relatives hello and goodbye, right? You don't need to force them depending on their age, right? But these are toddlers, right? We're not going to force them to share. We're not going to make them say they're sorry because guess what? They're probably not sorry. And stuff like that. So I don't know. Can you just maybe explain the philosophy behind that and how that falls into line with this philosophy that you talk about? This positive discipline sounds a lot like what I've been told is called problem solving. um,
Well, it's very solution oriented, very. In fact, only solution oriented, and and we talk a lot about celebrating mistakes because it really is true that mistakes are opportunities to learn and grow. And when we foster that with children, then how do any of us learn anything? Is through making mistakes. Like, oh, well, I don't want to do that again. With positive discipline, no problem. You say, oh, well, okay, I guess that didn't work. Let's try the next thing. So you're always moving forward. And one thing I love is that, and you constantly convey to children, oh, well, that didn't work out, but try again. And this is also true with disciplining. You can say things like, well, okay, what do you want to agree? When do you want to go to bed? And you work out this whole thing, say, about going to bed. Not necessarily when, but what has to happen before lights out at 7:30. And let's say then the child isn't ready at 7:30, as you and the child agreed on and you set up together. So you've invited the child into the process. And we all know that we're much more likely to cooperate when we're part of the process, part of the solution. And so maybe, okay, so you work out this whole thing. It's all done beautifully. 7:30 comes. Oh, we didn't have enough time. The teeth weren't brushed. Jammies weren't on by 7:30. So, oh well, no stories tonight. And with very gently, neutral tone, no told you so, no anything, you turn out the light and say, but that's okay. We'll try again tomorrow. Maybe you'll get it tomorrow. So you're constantly conveying, you'll get this. You still got this. It's just not yet. Or maybe you're not quite ready. So that's, and then with things like sharing, hugging, and so on, it's this. I often ask, workshop participants, try to imagine this in your own relationships with other adults. Would you say to another adult or a colleague, go over and hug that person? He's my former boss. And I hug him, so you should hug him. No, we would never. And if somebody asked you to do that, how would you react? And then, like I said, I'm one of 8 children. I hate sharing. I really hate sharing. It brings back terrible memories. It's like there was never enough. But so with positive discipline or with my own children, like they would say, no, a toy they hadn't looked at in 3 years, right? That's always how it works, right? And then all of a sudden some other kid is there and looks at that toy, and all of a sudden it's their favorite toy they've ever had in 3 lifetimes.
yes.
So yeah, so when somebody said, okay, so we, for example, had a thing of if the toy is in this space, it's there for anybody to play with. If you don't want to share it, we will put it away. Which ones do you not want to share? Well, some days it was 1, some days it was 100. But it's okay, we're
Right.
going to put those up there. But that means you also may not play with them in front of the other kids. You have to wait. Or say, let's say there was a cookie or 2 cookies, and say, if you want to share it, you may have both cookies now. If you don't want to share it, we put the cookies away and you wait till the other kids aren't here. So it's in their hands. The whole thing is respect. And
Yeah.
when I respect a child and invite their response and their suggestions for solutions, because very often it's the kids who say, well, what if we do it like this? Like, what if I break this cookie into 2 pieces, and then I can give one to Johnny, but the other cookie I'll save after Johnny goes. Like, fine.
And that you just hit something so important, that this is the way it was described to me. I just looked and saw I had rubber bands on my wrist. The way
Oh, I
that it
thought
was,
that was your jewelry.
it is, it's my fancy jewelry.
Yeah.
The way it was described to me is that a child can't share what they don't feel ownership of. And so when we're constant, especially like 2-year-olds, right? When we're
Yeah.
constantly forcing them to share, they're like, they don't understand. I just want to play with that. That's my toy. Why are you
Right.
taking it from me? And the minute that we say, oh, can so and so use it when you're done? Or like if it's a cookie, right? You can eat it now or you can split it in two. What do you want to do? Like the moment they recognize, oh, this is my thing to choose what to do with, they
Mm-hmm.
share.
Mm-hmm. It is amazing. Or and very, very often with toddlers, with little ones saying, "Oh, I see you two are having trouble working this out. Let me hold it for you while you figure it out."
Yep.
And
Amen.
there's no judgment. Nobody's done anything wrong. And they might protest, of course, but then I'll say, and if they can't find a solution, which usually they can very quickly, you've probably noticed at the nursery school. If they can't, you say, okay, that's okay. I see you're not quite ready with it. You just keep using this. You're not quite ready. So I'm going to put it away for now, and you will find something else. And maybe later you'll find a way to play with it together or something. So you just keep going back to that. There's a way here. There's a solution. We haven't found it yet. That's okay. Readiness is so different from wrong or rightness.
Yes. Oh, what? I don't know what I'm doing here.
As a runner, you know that, of course. You think it doesn't mean you can't do it ever. It means you can't do it right now. But you could train and get ready,
And I love that phrase of let me know when you're ready, right? Because
Yeah.
again, it's giving it to the child. Okay, Kathleen, we are already at 11:02. I told you time was going to freaking fly. So I would like you to let everybody know, one, how to get a hold of you, and two, I know you have a course coming up, which the beauty of online is you're in Switzerland and people here in Huntington Beach or in the United States or wherever can find you and join you. So talk to us about that and what you've got going on.
Well, you can see my website there, peaceworks-coaching.com, because I want parenting as the road to peace. And so the course I have coming up is I had some things that were more sort of theme-oriented, like who's the boss around here, or you're not the boss of me, and she started it to do with sibling conflict and stuff like that. But I was noticing that people still weren't getting the foundation of positive discipline and like the kind of questions you've asked. So this new course, which isn't even, the ink is still wet. It's not even quite ready. It's almost ready. It's going to be 30 days to a conflict-free family, but it's really going to teach the real foundation stones. The idea being, teach a person to fish and they can eat for a lifetime rather than giving them a fish. So that's the idea with that. And also I want this new course, and there's going to be, because the ink is still wet, it's a very special price of $149, half of what it's going to be. And that price is through February. It's on the website. It's already on the website because you can pre-order it. And so there will be really learning these really basic things about the why and wherefore, why positive discipline works, about setting up a roadmap. Where are we going with this whole thing of raising our children? And getting real concrete tools of ways to be with your children that invite this self-responsibility and mutual respect. There will be Facebook interaction and lots of stuff to get, because I've also found that the parents love having support and not feeling like they're being weird. So,
I'm laughing because amen, we need to do, I believe we need to do marriage and community. I mean, not like communal marriage, but like talk about our marriage stuff. We need to have a place where it's safe to do that. And parenting.
Perhaps the two hardest things we do is be in relationship and raise children. And this is nothing against people who don't do it, who are probably much more intelligent than the rest of us who do it. But it's just that perhaps the two hardest things we do in our lives we have no training for. None.
Yeah.
And then
And
we wonder why there's so many depressed children and so many unhappily divorced people. We don't know what we're doing, and it's really, really hard. It's really
and
hard.
it's like this shameful thing to
Yeah,
not know what
yeah,
you're doing. And
yeah,
I I don't know. I know what I'm doing kind of, but I'm raising my hand. Like I do not know what I'm doing a lot of the time.
yeah.
And
No, none of us does.
so,
We don't.
okay, so I have to end this show because we are 5 minutes
Okay,
over.
okay,
So,
okay.
Kathleen and I will probably hang out in the green room and continue to have this conversation. But I just want to remind everybody, first of all, that price, did you say 149?
For now,
Holy
just
crap.
through February, just until it's published, and then it's going to go up. And after I've run it, it'll go up again.
All right, so
So
what I'm
that's
saying is
really
jump on
that's the
that.
pre-order price. There's a pre-order price.
But what I'm
Yeah.
telling you, my audience people, is jump on that because for 30 days of the kind of stuff that I know Kathleen is going to go over, and I seriously wish we could talk about this for hours and hours.
Oh,
Uh,
I,
worth it,
I
worth
can
it,
talk.
worth
I
it,
can
worth
talk
it.
about this really for hours and hours.
I believe it. So I'm going to sign off and just say thank you so much, all of
Thank
you
you.
watching. Thank you, Kathleen, for being here. You are amazing.
Thank
I can't
you.
I can't wait to just like share the heck out of this YouTube. Hopefully my
Okay.
microphone is okay. But guys, we are over, so that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for being
Thanks,
here. As
everybody.
yeah,
Happy parenting. Happy parenting.
um, so as you guys know, I'm on a mission to serve mompreneurs in body, mind, and business. And don't we know this is all about like mind and sanity and just it's all of it, right? Keeping peace in our homes. So if you haven't already, head on over to carrierolledon.com/ebook and get my 6 steps to actually achieving your outrageous goals. And here is a great big virtual hug from me. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Marcus. Thank you, Iona, for participating. You guys are awesome. Head over to the Business Besties community in Google Plus and just start sharing the good stuff. And be sure to come back next week for same time, same channel on the Carrie Roldan Show. I'm going to be chatting with Inez O'Donovan, the founder of Forever Young magazine,
Yeah.
and we'll have all kinds of good stuff to talk about. So, Kathleen, I'm putting your face on. Say a nice goodbye, and we will see
Bye.
we'll see you all next week, guys. Thanks for stopping by.